Hello, and welcome again to Crime Chronicles. This is going to blow your mind. Are you shocked to learn that male victims of sexual assault are often ignored? Welcome to Crime Chronicles. You might not know about the silent cries hidden in the mustard fields of Punjab. The air in the village was thick with the smell of fresh earth and blooming mustard. Life here moved with the sun, a familiar and comforting rhythm. But under this calm surface, a storm was brewing. A silent scream trapped inside a man named Harpreet. Harpreet, a farmer in his late 30s, was known for being quiet and hard-working. He was respected in his small community for his honesty and hard work. His life was simple, shared with his aging parents and younger brother. There was no sign of the terrible event that would change his life, leaving him with invisible scars. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Harpreet was returning home from the fields. The incident was brutal and unexpected. Harpreet was ambushed by a group of men, their faces hidden in the shadows. It was different from the usual stories of sexual assault, which often focus on women as victims and men as perpetrators. Harpreet's story challenges this bias, showing that anyone can be a victim. This isn't to downplay the issue of violence against women. It's a call to recognize the silent suffering of men who also face violation and trauma. I remember a friend from my own village who went through something similar. He was a strong, silent type, much like Harpreet. It took him years to open up about his ordeal, and even longer to seek help. His story, like Harpreet's, is a reminder that these silent screams need to be heard. What makes Harpreet's story unique is the cultural context. In rural Punjab, India, masculinity is often tied to silence and stoicism. This makes it even harder for male victims to come forward. The societal pressure to conform to these ideals can be overwhelming, adding another layer of trauma to the already harrowing experience. Harpreet's courage to eventually speak out is a testament to the need for changing these deep-rooted cultural norms. It's a call for a broader understanding and support system for all victims, regardless of gender. The days before the incident were ordinary. Harpreet did his daily chores, working in his fields, eating with his family, and talking with villagers at the tea stall. Life was simple, a routine of work and rest. Nothing hinted that this peaceful life was about to change. The women who would later attack him were familiar faces in the village. They were not strangers, but people he saw every day. The relationships were friendly, with no signs of trouble. This normal life, without any warning, makes what happened next even more shocking. The attack was sudden and unexpected, not the result of a long-standing conflict. Harpreet's story shows that violence can happen suddenly, breaking the sense of safety. The attackers were not outsiders, but part of the community. The lack of warning signs makes it harder to understand why it happened. Without a clear reason, the crime is even more confusing, challenging our usual ideas of cause and effect. That night, under the cover of darkness, Harpreet's life changed forever. He was walking home from a nearby village, along a dimly lit path. The usual night sounds, like crickets and rustling leaves, were interrupted by footsteps. Suddenly, he was surrounded by 4 women. Fear took over as he realized he was in danger. The women had sticks and knives, their faces full of anger and something cold. What happened next was a blur of violence, leaving Harpreet hurt and scared. He was beaten, stripped, and humiliated. The women taunted him, showing their power over him. The darkness, once comforting, now felt suffocating, making his fear worse. Each hit and cruel word made him feel more violated and powerless. The attack wasn't just physical, it was meant to strip away his dignity. The women were driven by power, societal norms, and personal grudges. The incident showed how violence is used to dominate and control. The assaults seemed to last forever, with their laughter haunting him even after they left him battered on the path. The silence that followed was overwhelming, echoing his trauma. Harpreet lay there, in pain and shock from the attack. His familiar world was now a place of fear and vulnerability. The days after the attack were filled with pain, shame, and confusion. Harpreet's physical injuries were clear, but the mental scars were much deeper. He had nightmares, flashbacks, and a constant fear that affected his whole life. Everyday tasks became huge challenges, reminding him of his vulnerability. The world, once safe and predictable, now seemed full of danger. Reporting the crime was hard, filled with fear of not being believed and societal judgment. The common belief that men are attackers and women are victims made his fight for justice even harder. Harpreet's story challenges this belief, showing that anyone can be a victim. He went to the police, his voice shaking as he told them what happened, but their response was not comforting. The officers, used to the usual stories of violence, didn't believe him, and even found it amusing. They couldn't imagine 4 women attacking a man, which went against their ideas of power and victimhood. Their disbelief showed the deep biases that often make male victims invisible. The officers' dismissive attitude added more trauma to Harpreet's suffering. The lack of empathy from the police highlighted the challenges male survivors face. The investigation was half-hearted and lacked the care it needed. Harpreet felt victimized again, his pain ignored. The authorities' failure to recognize his experience showed the need for a better understanding of sexual assault that goes beyond gender stereotypes. If you found this video intriguing, be sure to give it a like and share it with your friends who enjoy delving into the most spine-tingling true crime stories. Stay tuned for more captivating explorations of the unknown. Let's go!